Hi, I'm Steve from the Stonecrafting Workshop. Welcome back. Today, nothing to do with stonecrafting. This is a DIY hack. I'm going to fit Schottis blinds to my skylight windows. They're difficult to fit, ordinary blinds and what have you. This particular blind has a roller blind that doesn't work very well. It's done the job, but it lets in a lot of light. And so I wanted to do something simple and cheap. If you want to buy a fitted blind to actually do this job, a blackout blind, it'll cost you about 150 quid. And I've got 6 of these, and I don't fancy spending £1,000 on window blinds. So I'm going to fit Schottis blinds to them. It's a pretty simple fit, and I'll show you how. The first thing I'm going to do is take off this blind here, and then I'm going to measure up. And what I need to measure up is the reveal of the window from this point here to that point over there, and up and down. And from that I can get the dimensions of the, I'm going to put some timber strips round and just fit the blind inside that window frame. Before I start, let's just show you the bits and pieces I'm going to use. We're going to use Schottis blackout blinds, and I suggest you don't try and do this using the white ones. The blackout blinds are actually more rigid and have a bit more strength, and they've got to span the window width without sagging, and I think they'll do the job. I'm going to use this profile timber on the top and the bottom of the blind, and I'm going to stick it on using double-sided tape. I've got a roll of that because I'll need a bit of extra. And the timber is about 25mm and bullnose top and bottom, and you can buy this profile of timber in DIY shops pretty well anywhere. It comes in 2.4 metre lengths, and it costs about £3 a length. And I'm also going to use the same profile of timber but in a wider version. So that's 45mm wide, and the wider version is going to use, so if we look at a drawing of what I'm going to do, this is the top of the window. I'm going to put a length of this top and bottom and a length all the way down either side. So I'm going to make 4 pieces, and that's what this is going to be. And again, it's bull-nosed, and again you can buy these in what they are in DIY shops. You'll normally find a rack somewhere in the corner with lots of profiles of different beadings, and this will be among them. And again, it's about £3 a length. £3, I think it was about £3.16 a length I paid for that. So I now need to measure up my window reveal to get the size of the top and bottom bars, which are going to be the full width of the frame. They're going to come past the sides a little bit. The side pieces are then going to be measured and fitted between those two top and bottom bars. Oh, and I'm going to fit the blind on using command hooks. I've shown how to do that in another video. Easy fixing of Schottis blinds, something like that. It's a really easy way of doing it, and I love the fixing. I'm using it down in my conservatory now. I'm going to cut the blind itself to fit very tightly within the opening of the window reveal, just in front of the glass here. So it's going to be cut to fit exactly there and there. And because I'm fitting the blind so that it's potentially removable, I can always shave it down a bit if I'm cutting it too tight. So I'm going to run one bottom bar along the bottom like that, and it's going to go from that side there right up in to the edge of the window frame, and run all the way across. I'm going to do a little cut out there to miss the handle, right across to the other side, and then there'll be another one right across the top in exactly the same way, and then I'll cut 2 strips like that which will run from top to bottom, and what that'll do is support the blind as it goes up and down. It's quite difficult to measure these because of the rounded bullnose, which is why I'm using a piece of timber as a guide. Okie dokie. And for the 2 bars top and bottom, I'm measuring the full width, almost full width, just coming to the edge of the bullnose here. So that's 690. Now, having made all my measurements, I'm now going to double check them. There's an old saying, measure twice and cut once. So I'm just double checking all my sizes to make sure that I've got them right. We've got the original double-sided tape on the top, so I now need 2 of the 25mm bits of beading, one to go on the top and one to go on the bottom. And I'm going to cut these ever so slightly short. You don't need them the full width, and that will enable me to trim this down if I need to. Before we go on any further, I found it very helpful to use an offcut off of the blind just to try everything out. And one thing I came up with was the fact that if you use the blind as it comes out of the box, as it's supplied, this is another offcut which I haven't done anything to, the way that the folds go is slightly wrong. Let me explain. With this one I used, I've stuck a couple of pieces of the battening on it just to see how it all works. So what I found was that I had to cut the bottom strip off and the top strip off the original blind because they're actually facing the wrong way to work comfortably. If you do the same thing, use an offcut and try it out, you'll see what I mean. So that if we look at the top beading and turn the blind the black way towards us, you'll see that the top beading is stuck on a flap that folds away from us. So you can now fold that over very comfortably onto the command hook. And then the blind folds up to it, like that. So it's a kind of natural thing. If you were to leave the other flap on, if you can imagine that, the other flap here, there's no way of actually doing it so that you get this neat, tight, the way it tightly fits very nicely. And the same on the bottom. You have to cut the bottom strip off completely and stick the bottom strip to the black side of the blind. And if I show you from the inside, we're looking at it now from the inside of the room. What you're doing, you've got a single slat, a single fold that you move the blind up and down the runners, holding on to that single strip. If you do it the other way round, you have got two of them and they kind of bunch up and the whole thing doesn't work very well. Try it yourself. When you do this, use an offcut and just mock it up and try it, and you'll see what I mean. You'll see how it all works. So that's the beading now stuck both sides of the blind. I'm just going to put a band around it to keep them under control. Now the next thing I'm going to do is nip upstairs and just mark out where the, I've got a cutout here for the handle at the bottom of the window. So I'm just going to mark that out. So I've stuck the runners onto the blinds. I've cut a strip off of the top and bottom and stuck the runners onto the blind and marked one at the top and one at the bottom. And I've just got these to temporarily hold them. And we've cut our sides. We've got two sides and a top and a bottom section. I've cut the notch out the bottom section. So what we're going to do now is we're going to drill the sides and the top and the bottom to take the screw fixing. We're going to pre-drill them so that we don't split the timber. So I've cut a small bit of beading here, a small bit of dowel, and I'm simply going to screw it on there so that it turns in and out. So we're now ready to go and fit the blind. Woo woo! So, first job is to fit the bottom. All you need to at the moment is there's the wall, so it's fairly self-explanatory. The beauty of these command hooks is of course you can just peel them off at a later date quite cleanly. I'm just using this piece of wood so that it guides me how near to the edge I can be. Because I need room to get the blind over and into the clip. Now the next job is fit the blind. In case you're having trouble orientating yourselves, I'm working now with my back to the window, so the black part of the blind is going to be facing outwards, and because we cut it nice at the top, simply I'm going to let the blind drop. It's easier to do this two-handed. Just lip that on the top of the hook, pull the hook slightly outwards and fold the wooden battening in, centre it, gather the blind, which is actually really easy if we've got the timber on it. There. And there. And now all we have to do is fit the top batten in. That's better. And there we are. The main thing I'm interested in at the moment is, will that work? Yes, it does. So that folds that up nicely. Down. Well, it seems to work. So I've closed the other blind and the door, and it's broad daylight at the moment, and as you can see there is very little light coming through it. There's a little bit but not much. In fact, it's brilliant. Does it work up and down? That's it up and locked into place, so yes, it works. You can open the window and shut the window with no problem at all. And let's drop it down again. As I say, I've actually put 2 bits of duct tape on here just to show that that's where your fingers go, and you simply pull it down. How cool is that? I am very pleased with this. It works very easily. It tucks up out of the way. I'm going to finish off the timber with teak oil probably, or I might just give it a coat of varnish, I'm not sure which. And I'm just going to leave it like that. I think many of you, if you try this project, you'll do the woodwork better. My woodwork is famous for being terrible. I did try originally sticking these with double-sided tape. Is one of my prototypes, and I found that didn't work well on the timber. But I think if you've got UPVC plastic frames, then it would stick really well. Because one of these actually did stick incredibly well. I had to prise it off, but the others didn't stick well, so I went with screw fixing. What did it cost? Well, the Schottis blind cost £5.50, and the 2 bits of battening I had to buy, hold on, 3 bits of battening I had to buy, cost me another £9. So, you know what you're talking about there, 15 or 16 pounds, 17 pounds, something like that. And I think this is really good. I think it works really well. What do you think? He says from the darkness. I've shown in another video using a clip to hold these, and that'll work even with the timber thing on here. Just a single clip would hold that, a hair clip. Look at one of my other videos about that. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say about them, is they do look really nice from the inside. I think it's got a really nice grey finish, which is really smart. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Can you see the thumbs in this light? I've no idea. And if you want to see more DIY hacks and bits and pieces, and if you want to see some more of my terrible woodwork, please subscribe to the channel.